Hello everybody, this is Fabi from The Next Big Rush, and I've even left the window open today because I'm just back from nature. I went on my first site visit. Big shout out and thank you to Calinex Mines for providing all the costs involved. So disclaimer, even though I'm not being paid to make this video, it was on their dime. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that you could learn about just going out to see a project, to see how a company is run. And then at the end, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Calinex Mines and some of the things going for them and some of the things that I think you should watch out for. All right, come with me. Okay, so we flew out to Flin Flon, which is really a town that was built on the basis of zinc deposits. The infrastructure is all there, and it was really great to see that whoever finds the next deposit nearby will really have everything they could ever wish for. A major working in the area, people who are willing and able to work in a possible future mine. You got electricity, you got roads. Basically, the town is begging for the next deposit to be found because it is running out of ore. Okay, so here are a few takeaways from my visit and why I think that if you get the chance of going on a site visit, you should drop everything you're doing and go out there and see it for yourself, investigate, ask questions, and just have a little poke around, see if what the people on the ground are doing line up with your investment thesis. And this may or may not, come to fruition. But the bottom line is, when you go out and see a site where the company is operating, you learn so much more than what you see in the core shack, which is where we take a look at the rocks that were pulled out of the ground and they're trying to build a thesis around. Some things that you should definitely look out for are not just how they handle the day-to-day processing of the core and the business itself, but no questions are really out of bounds. I was just really lucky because I was there at the same time as some other really knowledgeable geologists, and I was able to witness back and forth between them that I wouldn't even have thought of asking. So when you go in a group, it's even better. The other little trick is when you go on these site visits, and maybe I shouldn't be saying trick because you're not really tricking anybody, but it's useful to know, and that is you can see how management gets along with itself. So basically the main people running the show, how do they get along? How do they communicate with each other? Do you sense that they are in this together? And a lot of site visits as well, which probably wasn't the case with this one that I just witnessed, is depending on the area, you can ask around and see what other people think of the project that's ongoing, whether it's a drilling or development project. Because if you can see down the road that there will be local opposition to actually building a mine there, then, well, you should probably try to get out before they come to that development stage. And something else that you can actually gauge when you're out there is how confident they are about what they're putting out. Basically, when you read a news release, it's words that have been put on a piece of paper. They don't have any emotion to them. They don't have nervousness to them. They don't have the full picture even. They're usually just about just one piece of the puzzle. When you go out there, you get just so much information that you're able to piece everything together and have just a fuller view of what the company is trying to achieve. So one of the things that I witnessed in my Calinex Mines visit was that some of the results that they came out with recently were not hits, as we would call it, but at the same time they were improving in the sense that they were proving the thesis that was in the chief geologist's mind, so to speak. So they were coming closer. Imagine if this is like a detective story and you're trying to gather data, right? You're trying to gather evidence, And rocks are so complicated. Geology is such an inexact science, so to speak, that when you drill a hole, you know, you have a thesis, you might miss it by a few meters. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong or you're right. It just means that right there at this spot, not what you thought was happening isn't happening. So when you actually go there and you ask the people and you see them explain what the results actually meant, if that strengthens their thesis, then that's a good sign. Even though a drill hole may not have been a hit, it may take them closer to the actual mineralization that they're looking for. Okay, so going back to what I am here for in the first place, which is to speculate, to guess basically whether the stock price of any company is going to go up or down or sideways, and hopefully when. That is the difficult bit. Now, what I see with Calnex is that they have a lot going on for them. They are looking for zinc, which is hot right now, and I believe that the zinc bull run is actually going to be longer than most people believe. And I'm not really an insider in the industry, but you just have to look at how much zinc they hold in warehouses. I think if you go on Kitco.com, you can see, and the stock left is really, really historically low. Now, we know that the price of zinc has been so bad for so long that even this town, Flin Flon, is, I don't know, maybe half the population of what it used to be in its heyday. So that really indicates that there's an opportunity in the zinc arena altogether. There aren't that many purely zinc plays because zinc is usually a byproduct of other minerals. They also have 3 other projects in Eastern Canada, I believe 2 in New Brunswick and 1 in Newfoundland, and those are also, you know, in the right place. They are close to known deposits, huge deposits and mines, so the infrastructure is part of their MO basically. Something else that I see going for them is that they have already hit a very good hole in Pine Bay. Now, the subsequent holes were not materially significant. Does that mean that there is not enough zinc there, enough high-grade zinc for the project to move on? I think that question's still out there, and they're still drilling as we speak, and the results are still to come out. But the question remains, have all the economic deposits in the area already been mined, because they have been mined for, I don't know, over 80 years? Or have they actually found something of value just because the area is so prolific and there's much more to be found? The other thing is that the approach to the way they make decisions whether to drill or to hold or to move on are what I like to call the Silicon Valley approach. So basically, if you go to Silicon Valley and try to start a tech company, you can't just grab millions of dollars and try something and keep trying the same thing until it works without changing the course as you go along. Basically, you get the minimum information that you need to move on, then you adjust as you go. So basically, they will make decisions on where to drill, how much to drill, based on the previous drill results. Now, that can be very smart, but they have to balance that out with their treasury, because they have about 8 million in the treasury right now, and at least 5 projects that I believe they would like to drill. Yes, that is spreading your risk, but at the same time, you don't know where the good stuff is, and you won't know until you drill all of them. So although I think it's an intelligent approach, it's a race against your own treasury. You might run out of cash. To counterbalance that, they have very decent backers. Sprott actually did an exclusive financing with them. Everybody knows that I love Sprott because they really know what they're doing. What can I say? Now, the deposit that they're looking for in the Flin Flon area seems to me to be a very complicated, very sort of advanced deposit, if it is there. So when we think of a deposit, we might think of, well, it's just a big block of juicy minerals hidden somewhere in the ground, and that's not quite what happens. Basically, you could have something that looks like, you know, a thick razor blade going down vertically, or you can have something that is curvy. And so this is what really makes drilling and discovery a tough business. Now, if you look at the current price for Calinex, you'll see that it's just around 30 cents. That's actually historically very low. If you actually were to investigate further, add it to your watch list and get in at these prices, you'd be getting a better deal than Sprott themselves. I like that. All in all, it was a great visit. I am adding Calinex to my list. I would like to first take a look at their other projects in Eastern Canada, then take a look at maybe 2 other zinc companies and see where my money will be best spent. They're definitely in my watch list now, so if you have received my watch list last month, just know that Calinex is now part of it. And like I said, if you get a chance to go out and see a site for yourself, whether it be zinc, gold, uranium, or whatever, go and check it out. Okay, one last thing. Their most recent project, the Tara project, is actually really interesting, but for a different reason than what we've touched upon here. And that is, it has very interesting gold grades. So this is one thing that can happen when somebody is holding different projects in different areas. You might end up with something that might actually be a decent gold mine in the future instead of the zinc, which is what you're primarily looking for. So it's not a bad idea to hold a public company that has just one project, but it's good when they have the cash to explore more than one and they can spread out their risk, because at the end of the day, you still need a little bit of luck exploring minerals. Who am I kidding? You need a lot of luck exploring minerals. And the fact that the geologists at the helm of this company have found so many other deposits in that area and of the same type, it really speaks volumes. We're not dealing with first timers here. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hit like and subscribe because there's a lot more coming your way. Take care.